Welcome back to the battlefield. Today, we continue the Scotland campaign. Let's just get a quick overview because this is something I don't actually normally do, but I figured it might be interesting. So we have our territory. We've conquered almost all of France. We certainly control the northern part. We are now working our way into Italy. And let's just check and see if there's anything else interesting here. Obviously, public order isn't really that big of a deal at the moment. Alright, well, not really much else interesting there. But the main situation we have is we are at war with Rome. And that is the only faction we are at war with. We have made some friends to our southwest, but they appear to be slowly losing ground to the Roman navies. So we have a potential threat from the Romans to our southwest. The obvious direct threat to the south center in the Italian peninsula, and then the Romans also have holdings in Illyria along the coastline. So we need to keep bringing additional armies forward to make sure we can actually retain whatever ground we take. One of the biggest problems I think we will have is that the Romans have fairly powerful navies, and based on this being the 6th, that tells me that they've got 6 navies out there that are all probably pretty full strength, or at least reasonably close to being full stacks. And our barbarian naval ships don't have rams on them, so we will need a massive numerical advantage anytime we go into naval combat, and right now we don't have the money to afford that. So any coastal settlements we have are under great threat from Roman navies, so we need to have lots and lots of armies available to help secure these coastal settlements. But anyway, for now, I believe there's nothing else that really needs to happen this turn. We've got our armies forward already. Loyalty looks fine. So I think we just need to move on to the next turn. Alrighty, it's always good when we have an uneventful end turn, because it is always a good thing to be on the offensive. Dictating the circumstances of your engagements is one of the most simple ways to win a total war campaign. Right, the Lusitani are gearing up to go against the Romans, and they actually have a bunch of pretty strong units here, so this army has a decent chance of beating one Roman army out in the open field. So we'll have to keep an eye on how that situation develops. I still haven't really seen any Roman legions moving into southern Italy. Excuse me. So I think we should be mostly uncontested by legions as we move south. What I need to do as well is start... Well, I need to rotate this army around to the other side because this is obviously a field army, not a siege army. So what I think I will do is start off by getting my siege armies in position to attack the city of Rome. And the secondary army doesn't quite have the movement range to get close enough to reinforce. So I will actually not launch the siege this turn. What we'll do is just park right next to the city of Arretium and fortify. And I know we could take the city of Rome with just one siege army, but I want the additional firepower from 3 extra ballista. So we'll just go ahead and bring the siege armies forward. They're in position, they're ready to go. And then we will start rotating our field armies to the other side. We can obviously just go ahead and auto-resolve that rebellion away. Now I could... Actually, you know what? We can get all the way down to Asculum if we need to. The thing is, I need to keep at least one army at Ariminum so that this fleet doesn't go take it out from behind us. So I'm trying to decide which army would be better. Obviously, either of these 2 field armies could take the city of Asculum, no problem. But what I've got to think about is which of these armies could then also hold off against 1 or maybe 2 Roman legions. And I'm thinking that our medium swordsmen should do well, but I would like to get those war dogs some replenishment, so we'll just leave them where they are and have the Horns of Cambulos take the city of Asculum. Alrighty. One of my least favorite settlement layouts to attack, and also one of my least favorite to defend. But it's not really a big deal because the Roman garrison should be quite weak and easy to defeat. We'll just go ahead and set up in a standard line with our swords on the flanks as our flex force. And we'll keep the sword masters just in reserve. Go ahead and keep the war dogs forward as well. And then let's get started. Usually on this particular settlement layout, the AI does not charge out of the city. At least in my experience, they usually do not. But obviously, it's looking like they might be thinking about it, and sometimes they don't actually commit to it until the little garrison navy has landed. So it's possible that once these ships land, the AI will charge out after us, but it's kind of looking to me like they are just going to sit still. So let's get the slingers forward and start eliminating the enemy missile units. Alright, our guys are in position. They can go ahead and open fire. It's not a great angle because of this little building here, but I think it'll be alright. Yeah, actually that's quite a few of our sling stones getting stopped on that building, so let's just reposition our slingers. We go ahead and fast forward this a little bit just to try and get this simple battle out of the way, because the main priority for this episode is the Siege of Rome. I want to get that done today. It's too bad these slingers aren't facing the other direction so we could hit them in the right side, but it's not going to make any difference in the long run. Also going to bring the war dogs forward to just try and get in there and help chase down some of these naval units. And there should be 3 other units of slingers hidden around in here somewhere. There's one of them. Okay, let's keep the rest of the army moving forward. Can't quite get the attack order yet. We have to wait for all of these men to get off of their boat. And then as soon as that last guy jumps... Is it when he jumps or when he touches the ground? When he touches the ground, that's when we can give the attack order. Alright, so we've let loose the Hounds of War. And I'm really hoping that some of these slinger units will move forward so we can take them out. The dogs are not going to get a good charge here, unfortunately, because they're going to run into this swords unit first. Yeah, it didn't get any charge at all in there. Alright, well, either way, we'll go ahead and let this unit of levies quit moving, and then we'll start hitting them with the slingers and get them off the battlefield. Alright, that should be basically all of the enemy missile units dealt with. I wasn't counting very well, but I think this is the last unit of slingers that they have. And since our slingers have better range, we should be okay to start moving in. And what we're going to do is bring the swordsmen over to the left flank and have them work in this area, and then we'll split the shield wall spearmen between the right side and the center. I'll get some of the cavalry ready to move around the flanks. But realistically, I'm expecting the battle to be over before this cavalry can even get all the way around. You know, I could bring my slingers around to this side and try and hit some of these units in the right. But I think I'd rather just keep them where they are and save their ammunition for the last unit of slingers. Alrighty, we are almost in position. Now these noble swordsmen are not nearly as good as our heavy swordsmen are, but they're still capable. What the heck? What is going on here? I guess the war dogs have dealt with their first target, and now they are chewing up the last slinger unit, which is perfect. Alright, let's go ahead and get the rest of the infantry moving. Let's bring the sword masters forward, because now enemy missile units aren't really a threat. Bring the general forward as well, so we can use his war cry. And you know what, let's go ahead and bring... we'll bring 2 of the slingers around to the left flank so we can try and hit these guys in the side. I didn't get the shield wall active fast enough, but it'll be alright. Alright, this is good. Let's get the sword masters in here, and we should keep some cavalry close by as well. Oh, one of our spear nobles has broken formation. Always stinks when that happens, because we're going to take a bunch of not necessary casualties there. Okay, we'll go ahead and start sending a couple of our spearmen on the right flank forward, and then we just need to get the slingers to start doing their thing. I'm going to try and target their lighter units. Just because I think the slingers will be able to do more damage to the lighter units from the front, and then these guys, if they can hit the... You know what, let's just bring them all the way in. Let's just bring them all the way in here, and they can hit these guys in the back. It's going to be a little bit dangerous, because our unshielded sword masters will be sort of getting hit in the back by our own missiles, but I think it won't be too big of a deal. Okay, let's get these guys moving through. Try and get a bit of a charge on the side here, and then... Yeah, the sword masters will take a little bit of damage, but it'll be alright. And for whatever reason, our slinger spearmen can't target an area of the ground, so we have to give them an actual specific attack order. It's a little bit unfortunate, but it's not too big of a deal. Brought the general up here for his war cry, so let's try and make use of it. Right, the sword masters are making light work of the battalions. Let's try and make sure the spear nobles are staying involved. Alright, we're making good progress on the front line. I'm tempted to pull the sword masters back and try and get another charge bonus in there, but it's just really not that important, I don't think. We'll bring the cavalry over, but probably not charge them in just yet. Yeah, our chosen swordsmen are taking quite a bit of damage here. We'll let the general go ahead and get in there. And let's have the slinger spearmen form up a little bit better. And if we can, I would like to get their general to turn around and face us, so we can just hammer him in the back with our missile troops. But it looks like he's probably going to break before that even becomes important. Got a nice little charge there. Now let's start having the slingers change targets. And that's the battle. Yeah, I'm not too impressed with these noble swordsmen, and since they come from the first class of our population, I think I need to switch them out as soon as possible. We'll go ahead and let this play out, and I'll see you back on the campaign map. Alrighty, a nice short battle. We ended up doing a huge amount. We did more damage to ourselves with friendly fire than the AI did to us with their actual soldiers, which shocks me, but I guess we'll have to be more careful about having our slingers attack enemy units when we are engaged in melee with them. I'll give you just a quick overview of the kill counts. Our sword masters did really well. The spearmen all performed reasonably well. The slingers got quite a few kills, and of course the dogs did just a stupid amount of work. But anyway, a nice simple battle. It's interesting that they built 2 temples here. And I am tempted to loot this city, just because we are going to have another rebellion next turn, pretty much no matter what we do, and then I'm definitely going to loot the city of Rome itself. But I think with the slaves from looting Rome, I don't want too many slaves because some of my other core provinces are having a little bit of public order issues, so we will just go ahead and raise this one. We definitely have the available funds to just immediately start converting all of these buildings. And we can turn this into a fishing port. So we don't need to have a farm here, and that means we can do something else with this building slot. The question is, do I go with a trader's field and start out with the healer and then later convert it over to a trade center? Or do I do the fishing boats? I think we're just going to go ahead and do the fishing boats. And that's probably all we need to do this turn. Amazingly, in my brain, I thought I had looted the settlement, so I was expecting to see much lower public order here, but I didn't loot the settlement, I raised it, so public order shouldn't be that bad. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the technology and figure out what we need to start researching next, because I have definitely forgotten already what I was planning on doing. So far, nothing's really jumping out at me. Improving our siegecraft really isn't that big of a deal to me because we already have so many ballista. And at this stage in the campaign, I don't know if I'll be continuing it far enough to need the level 3 siege equipment. And you know what? That's not even an option for this faction anyway. So instead, let's just go ahead and improve our construction for now. Alright, back in Gaul, we have recruited an army under the direction of whoever it's under the direction of Vipo, or Vepo, and on the one hand, I'm kind of tempted to keep this army back in reserve so that we can defend against a potential German invasion. On the other hand, I'm tempted to send them to northern Italy and act as a reserve so that we can keep our main armies pushing forward and still have some defense of the coast. And the third option here is to send them down to Narbo to oust the Roman fleet that is there. And I think on my way down to Italy, I will go ahead and fight these Romans. So we will just set up shop and start moving towards Narbo. Now that should be all I need to do this turn. I've still got my spies in place where I want them for the time being. The Horns of Camulos, the commander did gain a level up, so we can go ahead and improve his skills. Now, what do we need? Improved cavalry and improved missiles for now is what I think will be most beneficial. Alrighty, and the Woad Warriors also gained some skills from having defeated the rebellion, so we'll get them on track towards getting the Warcry ability, and then we can end the turn. Welcome back to the top of another turn, and what do we need to do now? Well, we are ready to set up the Siege of Rome, but let me just check around and see if there's anything else I want to get into first. Looks like based on these notifications, everything should be taken care of already, and we are not going to sit around and build a bunch of siege equipment because we just don't need to, so let's go ahead and get in there and launch the siege. It's nice to see that they only have 2 missile units. That's always beneficial to me. And then over here we will go ahead and swap some of these archers and all of the archers and artillery out. And we'll exchange them for the light troops that can quickly run to the front. So our reinforcing army will just be a bunch of infantry, and the army initiating the siege will have all of the equipment that I would rather not need to wait around for while they're trying to get set up. But anyway, let's get in there. Okay, so this should be a very simple and straightforward siege because they don't have a legion here to defend. But we still need to take it seriously so that we can continue our push south and secure all of Italy. Because, as always, the more casualties we take, the longer it will be before we are ready to move forward and continue capturing territory. So, right off the bat, let's just do the standard and prepare to deal with any siege equipment the enemy might have. They can't put siege equipment on this little corner, and whatever they put there won't have the angle to fire at us, so that's all of the siege equipment basically dealt with. Yep, that should be good to go. I'll go ahead and put the ladders on my right side. I don't actually plan on using them, but better to have them in a position that I want them than need to wait around and move them for ages. So we should be good to go there. Now that is all of our army. Let's go ahead and get this siege started. Make sure the bowmen get in range. And we can start having the artillery bring down the towers. Okay, this unit of archers is going to take a decent amount of damage, but I would rather have the archers take the damage than the siege equipment. Oops. That's not who I wanted you to attack. Hit the scorpion. This scorpion is getting protected just by all of the shields surrounding it. Come on, take it out. Archers always struggle to... It seems like archers always struggle to take out the scorpions. And it looks like over here we actually might end up killing the crew before we manage to burn the scorpion itself. Oh, there we go. Alright, now let's pull back. Get the archers in position where we want them, because I think the other thing I want to do... Why is the artillery moving? I think the other thing I will do is let the archers go ahead and take out their 2 units of slingers. But I don't know, I haven't really decided on that yet. Alright, let's start getting organized. Cavalry, go hang out here. Hidden warriors can actually, or ambushers or whatever these guys are, they can go hang out on the right flank, because I'm thinking I will go ahead and open up this corner, and then once the engagement starts on the left side, I will probably have the hidden warriors go through on the right. I don't know, we'll see. Go ahead and bring this artillery piece forward as well, because we have another tower to get rid of. We'll have these two start working on this tower. And then I need to get the rest of my infantry forward as well. Alright, let's go ahead and fast forward.
The walls are breached!
Alright, the next step, now that we have most of the towers out of the way, is start bringing down these corners so that we have wide breaches. Because when you take down the corners, it usually opens up a larger breach than if you just pick any other segment of the wall.
Our hidden units have been discovered.
Then we'll just go ahead and keep opening things up. And I should keep getting organized here as well.
The walls are breached.
Oh, you know what? Let's get the archers out of the way and just have all of our heavy swordsmen in one giant line. Why do the artillery move after firing? I've never understood that. Alright, well, 2 of the artillery are out of ammunition, so we can just get them out of the way. Over here, let's go ahead and open up that breach a little bit more. And then these guys can just fire at will, just hit whatever they want. Because we have the breaches we need, we've taken out the towers that I want to take out, so the rest of it doesn't really matter that much. Alright, now, where are the enemy slingers? Let's bring our slingers forward, keep them protected with cavalry. Keep the swordsmen creeping up as well. Really, I should be sending in the axemen first, just because they're from our... I think they're from our 3rd class population, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal. And you know what? Since we have swordsmen, they're not going to perform as well against cavalry, so while we can't see the enemy slingers, we can go ahead and take out the cavalry instead. Just make sure all of these guys are on guard mode and not firing at will first. Oh, and one of them is still on flaming shot. We need to change that. 2 of them are still on flaming shot. Alright, so that's 1 unit of cavalry dealt with. The other one's going to hang out right behind the gate, so we don't really have an angle to fire at them. Alright, time for the swordsmen to move forward and do their thing. Normally I wouldn't clump up so much, but I think we can be reasonably certain of our success in this siege. You know what, let's actually... Here's what we'll do. We'll send the lighter troops over to the right flank and have the heavier troops attack the left. Go ahead and leave these guys here for a minute. They're just going to waste all of their javelins on units on the walls. That's not exactly what I want, but it's also not really a big deal. Okay, there's 1 unit of slingers. Alright, let's go ahead and get some swordsmen in here. And while we are here, let's go ahead and have some of these guys start attacking the gate as well. So we'll try and set up nice and wide to make use of as much of the unit as possible. Alright, and in we go. On the right side, looks like we might get through pretty easily. Just go ahead and let those guys start moving forward. We're not getting any charge bonuses here, which is pretty bad for us, but I think we'll be alright. Alright, archers.
Our hidden units have been
Take out the cavalry. They're losing decisively, but let's just get them off the board. Alright, back to the right flank. Our guys are still getting in position. Not really much else we need to do there. Let's try and get a couple of these units through to hold off any enemy reinforcements.
Our hidden units have been discovered.
Cavalry is finally starting to go down, so let's go ahead and cease fire and move forward. Get more units in the walls. Make sure these two don't get stuck.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Alright, now you guys go ahead and get through. Man, we are smashing through these guys. Okay, let's try and get these two units set up so that they can actually use their javelins. And I should be pouring in more and more guys. I don't really even need to get through the gates anymore, but whatever. Okay, let's go ahead and charge. Get these guys through. Let this unit just use its javelins however they want. Alright, and now we're on the flank. Whoa. Why are my units crossing each other? You guys go over here. You guys go over here. We don't need to worry about anything up on the walls because they obviously can't get through.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Let's bring one of our generals over here as well. Bring the other one this direction. Now we've got a 5-on-1 against a very light spear infantry, and we're using heavy swordsmen, so that spear infantry, yeah, they won't last long. Alright, we've made it in on this side with some of our axemen. Let's start funneling in the rest of the troops. While we're here, we may as well take the tower just to keep it from firing at us. But I think the battle will be over before much longer anyway. Forgot that some of these generals don't have the war cry ability. Go ahead and send one of these units of axes up on the wall just to start dealing with a few of these other units. We don't really need to, but I feel like it, so I'm going to do it. Alright, what's happening on the front? We're chasing them down. Funneling the rest of our troops through. Alright, now realistically what I should do is, like, if this were a more difficult siege, I would have this army, or this unit, hold the line here and send another unit around to flank, but I don't think the Romans have any more units available. They retook the gate, which is not a big deal. Alright, let's go ahead and switch that unit out now. Alright, we're making light work of whatever defenses they had left in the center, or on the right, rather. Now let's go ahead and start moving towards the town center, and the battle should be over very, very soon. Of course, I keep saying that, but it's not over yet. One of my favorite things about playing as the Northern Barbarians is they have like a lot of wolf pelts and generally dark colored attire, and it's a nice change of pace from all of the Italian and much of the Greek like browns and whites. I don't know, I just think it looks good. Alrighty, the Siege of Rome, no challenge of course. One day I will have a campaign where the Romans actually defend Italy, but most of the time the Roman legions are in Africa by the time I get to fight them. So it's usually a little bit of a steamroll. One day, though, one day we will have a proper legion and a full garrison defending the city of Rome. Of course, that'll end up being like the ultimate grind fest, but it would be more interesting than just a steamroll, I think. Alrighty, and as is required by law, whenever I play a barbarian faction, I have to loot the city. There's just no other way to do it. Alright, so pretty easy battle. A little bit disappointing that it was so easy, but still fun either way. Now let's go ahead and switch these units back out. And I think I'll go ahead and end the episode there. So anyway, we're making good progress against the Romans. They are finally bringing some legions forward to try and fight us off. But things are looking very, very good. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll catch you in the next one.